Subscribe now. EU debates.
I don't have
You don't need
to say. No. I think that we can start. I'm pleased to welcome President Metsola to Finland. I'm happy that she was able to visit so soon after being elected as the President of the European Parliament. I would like to thank Roberta for her leadership in the European Parliament and especially when supporting Ukraine. We had excellent discussions that were joined also by the members from different fractions of our Parliament. We discussed Russia's invasion in Ukraine and supporting Ukraine's EU path and the future of Europe. There is a need to continue our support to Ukraine, including military assistance, and we need to keep Russia accountable for its brutal and criminal actions. There is wide support in the Parliament for the Commission's recommendation to grant candidate status to Ukraine and Moldova, and also to Georgia once certain conditions are met. The Grand Committee of the Parliament will address this tomorrow on the basis of government's communication. On the future of Europe, the EU has proved during the pandemic and Russia's war in Ukraine that it can act swiftly in the time of crisis. However, we would develop our resilience further. I give now the floor to President Metsola. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Dear Matti, first of all, thank you for your invitation to visit Finland and the Eduskunta. As you know, Finland is very close to my heart. It is an honor for me to be here at the House of Democracy today. Congratulations also, dear Matti, for your leadership as you steered the NATO membership discussion through this House with impressive political unity. I can also say that this unity that we have seen on a European level with regards to the brutal invasion by Russia of Ukraine has also translated into further European action, and it will culminate this week in what I hope in a European Council that I will be present at will not only continue to express tangible European support to Ukraine, because Ukrainians are fighting for our values of democracy, freedom and the rule of law, not only to give continuous military, financial, political and humanitarian aid, but also the hope and the spirit of EU membership and thereby the decision to grant candidate status to Ukraine and also to Moldova will receive the European Parliament's strong support because we know how important it is not only for the Ukrainians and the Moldovans but also for Europe in order to strengthen its geopolitical situation but also democratic project. As you said, Matti, we discussed not only with you bilaterally but also with Satu Hassi, chair of the Grand Committee, and the leaders of the political groups, perhaps a couple of points also on the conference on the future of Europe. This conference has proved that there is a gap between what people expect and what Europe is able to deliver at the moment, in particular in the areas of health and energy. If the pandemic showed us that more union, more Europe was needed, that meant also that we have had unprecedented economic support going to member states. But now is the momentum for us to discuss where we go forward, also from a defence perspective, from a security perspective. And this is why the European Parliament is calling to start convene a convention which would bring together national parliament and European parliamentarians with the Council and Commission to consider where we could go, what gaps we could fill, and perhaps eventually also treaty change. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have time for a few questions. Please introduce yourselves before posing questions and just raise your hand. Any questions? Yes, here.
So Matti Taneli Media Newspapers, Finland. How strong do you feel the support is? How long-lasting is it for Ukraine in the European Parliament? And Mr. Vanhanen, you mentioned that in the Finnish Parliament, if I understand correctly, the support is also very strong. So can you elaborate on how strong and how long-lasting this might be as the war is grinding on?
Well, thank you. The support is indeed strong and unprecedented, if I can tell you. Looking back at the few last months since I was elected, we have seen positions and votes that have been taken by such large majorities that would have been unthinkable in the past, especially on sensitive areas such as defense, military support, logistical humanitarian aid for a country that is essentially fighting a war in Europe. That support is still there. It is still strong. Of course, enlargement discussions are never easy. As we saw from sanctions package to sanctions package, you could tell that different country realities were coming in, but the speed with which they were adopted and the breadth of the discussions and the decisions that were taken were already broader than I thought or my colleagues thought possible. Now, how to keep that up? How to keep us from having that CNN effect going away? It is our responsibility, first of all, in order not to divert attention away from the war. It is our loyalty towards our Ukrainian partners that are fighting for their survival and for their country. It is also our responsibility towards those countries who are hosting millions of Ukrainian citizens in their homes as a result of this invasion. Let us not forget that this has really brought European solidarity to the core of our action, and that has not wavered. Difficult times lie ahead, both in terms of rising energy prices, but also a global food crisis as a result of Ukraine being unable to continue with the supplies that it has always supplied with its both raw materials but also food supplies, and that also means that the implications we could start to see will have, let's say, a ripple effect beyond the European Union and North Africa and also countries in other parts of the world. So there it is also up to us not only to keep our support but to react decisively with decisions that might be quite difficult but that have to be explained to our citizens, but also that they have to be cushioned from economically, which is a big debate that we will have to have.
I have great confidence that in Finland the support will be long-standing, not only among the politicians but also among the people of Finland, and we need that support not only during the wartime but also for the rebuilding of Ukraine during the wartime and especially after the war. So totally it will be, we have to count several years, and we have to keep it in our mind that Ukraine will need all of us.
Any further questions?
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you for your participation.
Yes, sir.